Here I am over here. Sorry about that. Hitting buttons and taking names here. Basement Tapes 266. You saw a sneak peek of what we're going to talk about here. If you didn't already look in the description from the webcast, YouTube apparati, or your directory from podcast. What the heck am I saying here? Anyway, 1974 Wonder Bread. So this is a football series. This is something that I just kind of started uh, entering into my collection a few years back, and wonderful little. I like stories. Okay, I like stories, meaning that I like to find out how cards enter my collection. Right, the journey they take into my basement. And also understanding how difficult that journey is sometimes. And this is an example of that. Cards from 1974, 50 years later, hanging out in my basement now, protected, well loved, but it probably wasn't always the case. So I have 27 of these lined up there. And Beckett, let's talk about, get to the nitty gritty here. Beckett OPG. 30 of them total, $2.20 average value, total value $66. $25 to $50 is a complete set of these, according to Beckett. The 1974 Wonder Bread set features 30 standard size cards with colored borders and color photographs of the players on the front. Season by season records are given on the back of the cards, as well as a particular football technique. A Topps Chewing Gum Inc. copyright appears on the reverse. A parallel version of these cards was also distributed by Town Talk Bread. Not sure if I've got the 74 versions of the Town Talks, but they do exist in my collection. So there's lots going on here. Cards produced by Topps for other people, in this case, Wonder Bread and, of course, Town Talk Bread. So Larry Zonka, your number one earner there, followed by Bob Greasy and then Paul Warfield. And then there is another tier below them and a few more tiers below that, I believe. So let's talk about this on TCDB. Look at these cards. They look a lot like the 1971s Topps. And perhaps someone will say something, but it says here that there's 30 of them. 1974 Wonder Bread. Cards have Wonder Bread All-Stars printed at top of back. Teams represented here are the Bengals, Browns, Broncos, Lions, Packers, Chiefs, Rams, Dolphins, Vikings, Patriots, Giants, Jets, Raiders, Eagles, Steelers, 49ers, Cardinals, and Redskins. Hall of Famers, there's 14 of them. Willie Brown, Larry Zonka, Bob Greasy, Chris Hamburger, Winston Hill, Jim Johnson, Paul Krause, Willie Lanier, Tom Mack, Jim Otto, Alan Page, Eugene Upshaw, Paul Warfield, and Ron Yeri. Packaging, damn, they came in Wonder Bread packs. And sometimes you could see Pro Football kind of popping out there on the side panel of the Wonder, I guess I don't even know if you can call Wonder Bread panels, but right on the bags there. Plastic bags. If you're anything like me, you grew up in the Northeast or perhaps beyond, these were wonderful ways to keep your feet warm and dry in the winter months. Yes, folks, we would put our feet in here, our socket feet, and then put these Wonder Bread bags. I can't remember any other bag other than Wonder Bread bags going into our shoe and then on our way to school. I can't imagine what it looked like at the classroom. All these Wonder Bread wrappers sticking out of people's Chuck Taylors and Hush Puppies and all that fun stuff. So anyway, a nice little remembrance to me, a reminder that I've come far. We now have boots that have that are waterproof. But back then, even though we were kind of a middle class family, we weren't too proud to throw some enriched bread bags on our feet and maybe help them grow a little bit because I got big feet. So maybe, yeah, maybe if I had used them elsewhere, I would have helped in my growth as well. But that wasn't the case. Gallery, let's look at the gallery again. Different color cards that remind me of 1971. These, instead of blue and red, these are red and yellow and stuff like that. A lot of similar photographs and poses and all that stuff. Forrest Blue, he was, I think he played for the Packers. We went over that before, didn't we? My apologies. Maybe I'm wrong. It's Forrest Gray. Anyway, Jim Backen leads us off. Forrest Blue, Bill Bradley with the Eagles, Willie Brown. I believe that's the same card used on the 73 Tops. Maybe I'm wrong. Larry Zonka is all beat up there. Ken Ellis with the Packers, Bruce Gossett, card 7, Bob Greasy, card 8, Chris Hanberger, card 9, Winston Hill, card 10. Jim Johnson, Hall of Famer there. Paul Krause with the Vikings. Ted Kwolek is card 13. Willie Lanier, card 14. Let's look at Willie's card. Willie's posed on one knee, bended on one knee at training camp or out in the middle of the municipal park. He says, Willie Lanier, Chiefs, middle linebacker, .afc. Wonder Bread All-Stars, 3 stars on each side of that. Header on the back. 14, there is looks like a piece of bread, an echoing piece of bread that has the card number in it, which I think is a great touch. Willie Lanier, Chiefs, mid linebacker, height 6'1", weight 245, school Michigan State. When I say that, I mean Morgan State. First pro season, 1967, birth date 8/21/45, home Kansas City, Missouri. 4 years of stats in there, no career stats. So it has his interception record for the seasons 1970 to 1973. And the bottom half of the card is dedicated to football plays. And this one has a picture of a gentleman in a uniform, 44, that tells us how to make a 2-point stance. In this more upright position, favored by some teams, the weight is on your feet, not on your hands and knees. That would give you a tendency to pitch forward. Copyright Topps Chewing Gum Inc., printed in USA. So you learn all about other kind of stuff here. Jim Otto, 00 is card 16. Tom Mack, sorry, I passed you over. You're 15. Your screen block is how to employ a screen block is what you learn from Jim Otto's card. The Right Honorable Alan Page, how to tackle the passer. Card number 18, Frank Pitts from Cleveburg. Card number 19, Jim Plunkett, Patriots, QB. Perhaps that's Schaefer or Gillette or whatever the heck that stadium was back then, Foxborough Stadium. You guys couldn't make up your minds what you wanted to call it, but it was an ugly stadium. Mike Reed, home of the tuck rule, by the way, that old stadium, Gillette, Schaefer, Foxborough Stadium. Mike Reed with the Bengals. Let's see here. Let's get farther. Paul Smith with the Broncos. Bob Tucker with the Giants. How to throw a jump pass is what we learned from him. Jim Tyrer, how to employ a shoulder block. Jim Tyrer, of course, a star-crossed history. I don't know if star-crossed is the right way, but it's tragic. Eugene Upshaw, card number 24. Phil Villapiano, card number 25. Paul Warfield, card number 26. Dwight White with the Steelers is 27. Steve Owens with the Lions is 28. Gerald Wilson, card number 29 with the Queefs. And Ron Yeri, legendary All-Pro, Hall of Famer, card number 30 with the Minnesota Vikings, where you learn how to throw a pitch out. So that's the 1974 Wonder Bread set, printed by Topps, distributed by Wonder Bread and Town Talk Bread, of course, as well. How these things made it out of soft wrappers with soft bread and made it off the kitchen table in the morning when you had your toast, all buttered up and some marmalade perhaps, and into my basement years later is beyond me. These were probably dinged up before they even left the bread truck. And going to Topps, I guess, Wonder Bread, because again, these cards would have had to have been edible to make it into your bread without protection. I'm pretty sure they were just thrown in there without any kind of cellophane or wrapping on them, but I could be wrong. Prove me wrong. Show me that I'm wrong. So anyway, that's it. 74 Topps produced Wonder Bread series, Basement Tapes, number 266.